The galaxy has witnessed brutality, but nothing prepared it for this. An alien officer decorated, respected, feared struck a human child during what should have been a peaceful inspection. And in that quiet second after the impact, the universe changed. Because humans aren't just survivors. They're Deathworlders, legend-wrought, battle-tempered, and fiercely protective of their young. Minutes later, while the officer's screams still echoed across the outpost, her severed head was delivered to the High Council, wrapped in a human flag. And everyone understood the message. If you enjoy deep-dive hfyStories where humanity doesn't just endure, but rewrites the rules of the galaxy, stick around. And hey, if this kind of raw, cinematic sci-fi hits your vibe, consider liking the video, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who loves humans are terrifying lore as much as you do. It really helps the channel grow, and I appreciate you being here. The inspection yard on Lumia 4 was supposed to be forgettable, a routine check. A quiet day, nothing more than paperwork under a pale orange sky. Humans and aliens moved along the platforms together, trading polite nods as cargo shuttles hummed overhead. No one expected trouble. Certainly not a child. 8-year-old Mina Park clutched a small stuffed rover while standing beside her father, a civilian engineer reviewing hull plating. She wasn't loud, she wasn't in the way. She simply wandered a few steps too close to an approaching officer from the Velroth Dominion Commander Sithrael, a towering reptilian figurebred for discipline and renowned for her cruelty. Witnesses would later say the moment felt unreal. The officer didn't shout, didn't warn, didn't hesitate. She just swung her arm with the cold efficiency of someone swatting an insect. The strike cracked through the yard like a snapped cable. Then it fell instantly, her toy bouncing once on the metal floor. For half a heartbeat, everything froze. Even the wind paused, as if terrified to move. Sithrael sneered, muttering that human younglings were soft vermin. She turned away, expecting silence. Instead, the air shifted cold, sharp, electric. Because every human on that platform had stopped breathing. And the Deathworlders had noticed. The first to move wasn't a soldier. It was Mina's father. Jaehoon Park dropped to his knees beside his daughter, hands trembling as he checked her breathing. She was alive barely, but her cheek was already swelling, her tiny body limp from the shock. He whispered her name again and again, voice cracking. Around him, every human on the platform felt something old and primal uncoil inside their chest. Deathworlders don't scream when their young are hurt. They act. 3 Marines posted nearby stepped forward without exchanging a single word. Their boots hit the ground with the heavy certainty of a verdict already reached. The nearest one, Sergeant Cole Ramirez, raised 2 fingers to his cums. "Red directive," he said quietly. That was it, no anger, no theatrics. Just a switch flipped in the human psyche. Across the station, alarms began to chime, not warnings, but confirmations. Human systems shifting into a lockdown mode that no alien had ever heard activated before. Sithrael noticed only when the shadows around her shifted. She turned and found herself surrounded soldiers, engineers, medics, even dockhands. Dozens of humans, standing utterly still, their eyes fixed on her with a level of focus that made predators freeze. Someone whispered, "She struck a child," and the temperature seemed to drop. By the time Sithrael realized she was prey, it was too late. Sergeant Ramirez stepped forward, calm as steel cooling in water. "Commander," he said, "you assaulted a human miner under Terran protection." Each word landed like a final nail. Sithrael reached for her sidearm. She didn't even clear the holster. A Marine behind her seized her wrist, twisted, and brought her to her knees with brutal precision humans rarely displayed outside war zones. To the aliens watching, the speed was terrifying. To the humans, it was restraint. They didn't torture her. They didn't shout. They didn't let her plead. Ramirez drew the compact, razor-edged field kukri from his belt, ceremonial for most soldiers, but not today. One clean swing. Sithrael's head hit the deck with a dull, decisive thud. Silence swallowed the yard. Within minutes, a sealed container white, marked with the Terran emblem, was carried through the station by a squad of Marines who moved with the quiet confidence of people delivering an undeniable truth. No speeches. No warnings. Just a message carved in action. By the time they reached the High Council chamber on Lumia 4, guards stepped aside without being ordered. Humans didn't demand entry. They simply walked in and placed the container on the central table. The lid clicked open, and every leader in the room stopped breathing. The High Council chamber had weathered centuries of political storms, but nothing prepared its members for the sight inside that container. Sithrael's severed head lay on a sterile cloth, eyes frozen mid-snarl, the wound cauterized with surgical neatness. There was no blood spatter, no brutality, just a precise execution delivered like a formal document. Counselor Victor, a veteran of 5 wars, stumbled back as though struck. Humans, they bypassed all protocol, he whispered. No warning, no petition? His voice shook. The Marine squad stood silently, helmets off, faces steady. Ramirez stepped forward. A Dominion officer harmed a Terran child. Under the Deathworlder Accord, retaliation is immediate and absolute. His tone wasn't aggressive, it was factual. As if reading a weather report, that terrified them more. Every species had heard whispers about what humans become when they're young or threatened, but stories were easy to dismiss. This was a head on their polished table. Counselor Shirena's crest flattened in fear. You expect us to, what? Apologize? Ramirez didn't blink. We expect you to understand the consequences. A chill rippled across the chamber. For the first time in its history, the High Council realized something unsettling. Humans didn't need to negotiate. They warned by example. The council chamber remained frozen long after the Marines left. No shouting, no debates. Just a quiet dread settling over leaders who suddenly understood they'd misread humanity from the start. Later that cycle, an emergency broadcast rippled across Dominion space. Not a threat, just a statement from the Terran Union. Our children are not targets. Any violation will be met with immediate correction. The message lasted 9 seconds. No embellishment, no posturing. The galaxy replayed it endlessly, each repetition cutting deeper. Across dozens of worlds, military strategists scrambled to reassess human capability. Not their weapons, everyone already feared those? What terrified them now was the psychology. Humans didn't retaliate out of rage. They retaliated out of instinct, precision, unity, a level of collective resolve other species couldn't copy even after millennia. Meanwhile, on Lumia 4, Mena Park recovered in a medbay surrounded by soft lights and quiet beeps. She woke to find her father holding her hand, tears falling freely. She never knew the galaxy had shifted because of her. But it had. From that day forward, every treaty, every patrol route, every diplomatic protocol carried a silent footnote. Do not harm human children, because humans don't escalate. They end things.